Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including the late night shows have seen a lot of drama and news related to them. But what's happening there? Well, a new study says over 80% of their viewers in their key demographic have vanished over the last 10 years. We'll take a look at what's happening with TV's dropping ratings. Also, Comcast is reportedly planning to make massive cuts to its TV and internet divisions. And this is going to target some of the biggest leaders in those departments. We'll tell you what's happening there. And the first PBS station announced plans to shut down after losing federal funding. We'll tell you about these stories and a whole lot more because there's just a lot to talk about, including T-Mobile getting a new CEO. We'll break these all down and let you know about them in a minute. First, though, if you're new here, do me a favor. You can always find a link to every story I talk about in the show notes and in the first pinned comment, so you can find them there. If you like what we do here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up, doing one or both. Let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so YouTube recommends our videos to more people. With that said, let's dive into it. All right, you've probably heard Jimmy Kimmel, too many Jimmys, was let go last week and lost rights to the show. Now tonight, when I post this, his show will return to the air after Disney says they've reached some type of agreement with him. We'll see how that plays out. But why was Disney so willing to bail on him? Well, I think a big part of that's their viewership. We've seen a lot of this recently, but according to a new study out there that was recently released from Late Nighter, 80% of viewers in the 18 to 49 age range, what's considered one of the most sought-after demographics out there, are no longer watching late-night TV shows for Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Fallon over the last 10 years compared to 2015. That's a pretty massive change there. 80% of some of their key viewers are gone. These shows are attracting a fraction of the viewership. That was one of the reasons CBS listed as declining viewership for when it canceled the Colbert Report, or the Colbert Show, for the late night show on CBS. It's not even going to be replaced with a new host. We have yet to hear exactly what they will do with that time slot in the future. Now ABC was willing to pull the plug after backlash related to what was argued to be insensitive comments by Jimmy Kimmel with that, even though they were bringing him back. I firmly believe that in 5 to 10 years, all these shows will be gone and will not be returning. But ABC, CBS, and NBC have lost 80% of their viewers during this key, what was seen as a massive block. And I think a big part of that is streaming. There, it used to be that was the only thing to watch late nights. You went to bed. Now there's hundreds of options to stream from, with thousands of movies and television shows to pick from. So we'll keep an eye on this, but does it surprise you that 80% of their viewers are gone? Is that higher than you thought or lower than you thought? Leave a comment, let me know. All right, Comcast is announced, or is, according to Reuters, announcing plans to their staff to cut a bunch of their staff over in their traditional cable TV and internet business, both here and internationally. And with this, they'll be reducing the amount of managers in these departments to streamline efficiency. Let me rephrase that. Probably what they really mean is to cut costs with this. But managers over their Xfinity internet, mobile, and pay television services, along with their Sky brand in Europe, will see their roles cut and reduced over the next few months with this. Now, this joins a growing trend of cable networks cutting employees, Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Disney, and others in recent years. And now Comcast at their levels cutting staff too. This also comes as Spectrum cut over 1,000 customer service agents over the last couple of years, shutting down call centers, merging and migrating them, as they lean more heavily into automated services with this. But Comcast making big cuts, and I know they're talking about efficiency and different things. I really think this has a lot to do with cost cutting. Can't be ignored here with this, as they're reducing the number of layers of management overseeing these different departments with it. We'll keep an eye on it, but don't forget Comcast is losing both internet and television customers. Fewer customers means fewer needed for some employees on that too. All right, we learned that earlier this year that the federal government is going to be cutting funding for PBS and NPR, and we've suspected that that will lead to many stations shutting down, and NPR has warned as many as 80 NPR stations could be forced to close over the next year. Well, now we got the first one. Penn State University has announced plans to wind down operations for its broadcast TV stations WPSU, both the TV and radio stations at Penn State run. Now, apparently this serves roughly 500,000 people in central Pennsylvania, and there was a talk about migrating it over to another PBS station, having them run it, but apparently that would have cost Penn State roughly $17 million over the next few years to do that transition, and they've elected to just completely shut down its PBS and NPR station. Now, this is not the first NPR PBS station to shut down. When I lived in Central Texas, their PBS station like 5 years ago shut down too. I think there was another one in Michigan that shut down because of cost with this. Well, we've talked about this a lot, that yes, the federal government funding is a relatively small fraction of PBS's overall budget, but for small PBS stations and NPR stations, it makes up a significant part of theirs. They don't have the donor base of a larger PBS station like one in New York or Chicago or Detroit, or even many mid-sized stations in mid-sized towns. And because of that, because they rely so heavily on it, the loss of this funding will probably force many PBS stations and NPRs to either severely downsize or shut down. This is just the first one to announce it, WPSU, which was run by Penn State University. You probably say Penn State's a big group, but then you hear $17 million, and you can kind of understand why they don't want to continue with that. We'll keep an eye on this. No exact date for when it will shut down yet. It'll probably be next year before it fully winds down operations. We'll keep an eye on this story and look for more PBS stations having trouble in the future. Next up, T-Mobile's getting a new CEO as it struggles to deal with growing competition from places like Comcast and Spectrum and others selling wireless service. T-Mobile has now announced that it's going to promote its Chief Executive Officer. I'm going to apologize. I am severely dyslexic, so I'm going to spell his name. If somebody knows how to pronounce this, please leave me a comment. I need to reach out to T-Mobile and find out, because people mispronounce my last name all the time, and I want to try to be nice, but S-R-I-N-I. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I apologize. But he's going to become the new CEO of T-Mobile effective November 1st, 2025. That's a huge change there. In recent years, T-Mobile has been relatively stable in the CEO role, and now a big change is going to come to it. Now, what does this mean for the long run? Well, you would have to assume that with his current role being the Chief Executive Officer, he is the CEO. Oh, wait, I apologize. With his current role being in senior leadership there, him going to the CEO role won't be a dramatic change, because it's relatively, you would assume his vision's relatively similar to the current CEO. But we'll keep a close eye on this, because T-Mobile has become one of the biggest players in cord cutting with their new internet service, either for 5G or fiber, plus all of its deals to get free streaming. It's attracted a lot of cord cutters, and it has a big impact on the role of cord cutting. All right, next up, Google has announced that its Gemini AI software is coming to Google TV. That it'll be rolling out its Gemini AI assistant for better voice commands on Google TV models for when you ask to launch apps, channels, or find movies and TV shows. Google believes that this new AI assistant will be far superior than the old one. It can do things like just say, "Hey Google," or press the microphone button to activate it. Rolling out in updates to Google TV models now, coming out there. And now my tablet's trying to activate that because I heard my voice. All right, Pluto TV is adding 2 new channels. Now, there's a new Walking Dead channel on this, so more Walking Dead content over on Pluto TV. But Pluto TV Throwback's also coming with more throwback movies and television shows from the 70s through 90s, now available on Pluto TV. Check it out. Went live yesterday. You can now find those 2 new channels on Pluto TV. Today in TV history, a few ones that caught my attention because it made me feel old. Let me know if this makes you feel old. 36 years ago this week, Baywatch first premiered on NBC. Now, I had a hard time believing this one. I had to double check, but Baywatch first came out in 1989 on September 22nd, and had a wildly successful run after that. But Baywatch, it seemed like, was everywhere in the 90s. But 36 years old now, wow. And Full House is now 38 years old. Full House came out this week on September 22nd, 1987 on ABC and was a cornerstone of TV, especially the TGIF block on ABC for a while, especially through the 90s. Full House, which came back later as the Netflix original as Fuller House, still a wildly popular show today in this culture. Let me know, does it surprise you those have been so long? Leave me a comment, let me know. If you're a DirecTV customer, good news. Vizio is now getting a native DirecTV app. You'll be now able to watch DirecTV either through its streaming or its other packages through your Vizio TV. Bringing one more device support to DirecTV Stream and other DirecTV customers with that. Now 5G feels pretty new, but Verizon is starting to work on its 6G network. Well, this is a big news for cord cutters because increasingly many cord cutters are relying on wireless 5G home internet service, and the promise of 6G is expected to be significantly better for such services with that. But for now, it's just an idea. With this, T-Mobile says they're partnering with a growing number of companies like Ericsson, Samsung, Nokia, and more to help them develop chipsets and innovations to create a standard for 6G. We're very far away from this becoming a reality, but Verizon's already looking forward to the next round of innovations for their network. Keep an eye on this because increasingly wireless home internet is growing in popularity, not just with cord cutters, but with everybody for its cheaper options and availability out there to compete with fiber and cable internet. So it's great to see that. All right, if you're a Hulu customer, you may have noticed recently that ABC's live feed for its news kind of vanished from the home screen last week. We got quite a few complaints about this from people saying it looked like Hulu removed ABC News, which was a 24/7 or is a 24/7 live feed of news from ABC. Now it's widely available on many places, but it's also inside Disney Plus and Hulu. Good news, it still is, it just wasn't being promoted on the home screen. If you're looking for that, you can just search on Hulu or on Disney Plus and find ABC News. Streaming's still there if you ask for it through the search. No idea if this is related to kind of the backlash we saw last week with the Jimmy Kimmel situation, but for whatever reason, it kind of vanished from the recommended rows on the home screen, but it's still there. You can still find it on Hulu, so check that out there. And lastly, we talked a lot about Walmart Plus and Amazon Prime Video and Prime in general fighting over each other, as both now are great options for cord cutter streamers. Walmart gives you an option between Paramount Plus and Peacock to stream for free if you subscribe, and of course you get Prime Video with Amazon Prime. Well, one of the big things is Walmart wants to be a big seller. Well, they partnered with Amazon now. Get this, folks. This is one that I thought was very interesting. If you order on Walmart through certain third-party sellers through the Walmart website, Amazon will actually be who delivers it for you. Very interesting to see this, but Amazon and Walmart teaming up to process deliveries through Amazon for Walmart customers. Baby pigs really are flying. Weird things are happening in 2024, folks. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or hit that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. Until then, take care, be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.